We went extra jammy this morning. Hello, welcome to the Most Accurate Podcast. I am your host, Jennifer Akins. With me, as always, is Justin Edwards. We are here, week 14. We made it. Yeah, excited to be here. Excited to go over some streaming stuff with you all. Unless you're not paying attention or under some sort of rock, there are 6 teams on a bye this week. The Ravens, Broncos, Texans, Colts, Patriots, and Commanders. So it's probably likely you guys are looking for streamers in all of the
Right.
uh, all of the streaming positions, which are kicker. I'm sorry, I don't know why I always start with kicker. Maybe it's just because I like it the most.
Yeah, it's your
Quarterback,
favorite.
tight end, quarterback, tight end, kicker, and defense. So that is what we'll get into. We will also get in some questions if you guys have them. Justin, did I already
Yeah,
ask you? Did I already ask you how you're doing today?
I'm great. It's the playoffs or about the playoffs, depending on your league setting. It's
Yeah.
probably the last week of the regular season for most people. And then in the Scott Fish Bowl, where it's already been the playoffs for a couple of weeks, both of us are in the top
Yes.
200. So let's go. Let's bring home a championship to this streaming podcast.
That would be fantastic.
It'd be amazing.
How about you come in first, I come in second? I'm gracious.
I'm fine. Look, we can split the glory.
I'm totally down with splitting the glory. I think this year, though, and I know this is not a Scott Fishbowl podcast, but I do think that this year is kind of interesting because with all the different, with the kicker and punt returners and kickers, and I think there's going to be a lot of varied rosters at the top, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the same, 10 guys on every roster. So
Right. I mean, the person who wins this could have like 5 returners on their roster, and that's what got them there.
Yeah, I mean, I not this past week, but the week before, the second round or the first round of the playoffs, whatever we're in, I started 4 kickers. Like this week, I only started 1 just based on my what was happening by weeks and whatnot. But I started 4, and it got me where I needed to be. So I think it's going to be interesting when we see kind of what's going down there. All right, let's before we get into this week, let's rewind a bit and go over our last week recap. I will start with quarterbacks. Not a bad week quarterback wise. And I'm going into it. I said it wasn't bad, and it wasn't at all. Russell Wilson was my top pick, and he was the quarterback 4 with 26.9 points. Drake May was my second pick. He was QB 13 with 19.4. Derek Carr, QB 23, not great at 14.6. And then I threw in Trevor Lawrence just because he was coming back. Obviously, as we know, he got hurt and left early. So he doesn't really count. So, I mean, of the 3, 2 of them were in the top 14. One was QB 24. So I don't hate it at all.
No.
Justin, how do we look in the tight end department?
It was okay, but everyone scored some points, which was great, but it was such a good tight end week with no bye weeks that all we had were tight end 2s. Noah Gray, perfectly fine, 7.8 points. It was only the tight end 21. Theo Johnson, who might be spending some time not on an NFL field, 7.9 points, only good enough for tight end 19. Tommy Tremble, 10.2 points, only good enough for tight end 16. Mike Gesicki popped back up with 7.8 points, once again, tight end 20. And then Luke Schoonmaker down at 5.8 points, only the tight end 26. So we avoided the proverbial goose egg from all of our guys, but no one really jumped into that top range. There were 13 or 15 tight ends who scored double-digit points this week, which is just unheard of.
Look, not everyone could be Brock Bowers, right? I
Right,
mean,
exactly.
We both know that. All right, that's cool. I mean, no, that's not bad. Listen, as long as you can avoid a goose egg on a streaming tight end, I think you're
right. Exactly.
You win there. All right, so kicker department, another very good week. I will say this: good week in kicker. I had. Sorry, my cat keeps wanting the window in and out. So I gave 5 recommendations. 4 of those recommendations were in the top 9 kickers. And actually, and actually one of them, I didn't even like the matchup. It was Evan McPherson, and I said just grab him because he's not normally in the streaming consideration. And so he was the lowest. He was kicker 18, but I didn't even love where he was. I just figured people would want him. But as far as my actual recommendations, Chase McLaughlin was tied for kicker 1. Matthew Wright and Parker Romo both tied at kicker 4. And Will Lutz was kicker 9 last night. So we got 4 guys in the top 9. Can't hate that.
Who would have thought the lowest scoring kicker was the guy on a team that scored 38 points?
Yeah, I know. It's yeah, totally. Yeah, but I know I knew Will Lutz at home was going to be good, but that game was was crazy. Point wise, I'm pretty sure that anyone that took the over was pretty stoked. And I mean, that was crazy. And then, not that this has anything to do with it, but my alma mater, Georgia. God, I just said alma mater. I don't know where that
Alma
came.
mater.
That's like the old "Hello, Mother." You guys are all too young for that. My dad used to play that Danny Kaye record when I was little. Okay, anyway, that Georgia Tech game was absolutely insane. 8 overtimes. Like I never, as we all know, I never bet on Georgia because I just can't. It's too painful. But anyone that took the over there was loving life because it was 44-42 at the end. Okay, not important now though, because we're talking about the NFL and we're talking streaming. Defenses, how'd they do?
Defense is okay. We came out with the Cowboys scoring 17 points, which is fantastic. They were the defense 3, which is kind of surprising. 17 points usually gets you the number 1 spot. The Colts were the defense 14, womp, with 6 points. The Giants looked pretty lost on defense. They scored 0 points. So sorry about that if someone had to grab them. And then the Patriots scored 4 points as the defense 19. So not a fantastic week. We've definitely had better, but the Cowboys did lead off our discussion last week, and they were the defense 3. So hopefully they were available, and you didn't have to dive any deeper than that.
I played the Cowboys defense, and they
Perfect.
were yeah. I think they got me 23 something in my league scoring. So
yeah,
I enjoyed that stream for sure. All right, so I'm sorry, you done? Or is there more?
Oh yeah. I was just gonna say it's weird how different formats have such different defense scoring. I've just been going straight off Yahoo, but if you look on any other site, they're all different. So I just pick one and go with it.
Yeah, it's tough. The league that I'm in is Yahoo as well, but it just depends on what the commissioner does.
Yeah, it's like league. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so sorry, I'm getting a DM here from work. All right, let's keep rolling here.
Tell them you're at work.
Yeah, I am. I'm doing work things. Well, no, I'm trying to get, and we'll get into him in a little bit, but I'm trying to get our friend John Parker Romo changed his name to just Parker Romo last week. So I'm trying to get the back end to change it on the site so it auto-links. And so that was about that, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Our
peek behind the curtain.
Our friend John Parker Romo, who I went on a rant about his name, and maybe he heard it and decided to change it for me. All right, let's get to our weird sport of the week. Nude Beach Olympics is what we're rolling with this week. I felt like, a lot of parts of the country are a little bit chilly, right? It's getting into the holiday season. So why not talk about Nude Beach Olympics? The Nude Beach Olympics has been held at Baker Beach in San Francisco since 1998. The first event organized by a man named George Davis. There's a lot of different events as part of the program, but these are the main ones. They include sprint races, 100-meter, 500-meter, and 1,000-meter dashes. This is all naked, mind you. Sumo wrestling, Greco-Roman wrestling, javelin throw, frisbee, long jump, volleyball, and touch football. It's a free event. Anyone who wants to drop by to play or watch is welcome. No prize money, just the glory of winning and a handmade olive wreath as the prize.
Okay. Handmade olive wreath. That's pretty sweet. I mean, hey, some of these events were done nude to begin with. Greco-Roman was always naked people.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd like to have a javelin around when I don't have clothes. A frisbee? I would throw a frisbee nude.
I mean, yes, right? The act of doing all these things, you think, okay, but the watching, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm really
torn on, like, yeah. Do you, by chance, do you watch Bob's Burgers?
Yes, of course.
So there was an episode where Bob has to battle Hugh, the health inspector, at the Nude Olympics in order to have him come back. It was a whole thing. And I just picture them all sitting there watching them, and they're both competing. I mean, neither Bob or Hugh should be naked doing anything public, but they both were. It's a great episode. I don't remember what season or what it was even called, but anyway, the photo that I found of the nude beach Olympics, of course, the guy that they show is very like fit and trim and looks great, but I can't imagine that they're all like that. I don't know. Spectating that would be rough. I mean, maybe in my early 20s, I might have participated in something like that. Now, no, that's not going to happen for me.
Yeah, that's fair. I would have been much more apt to do this as a 22-year-old.
Right. Than now. But
I would have done most anything as a 22-year-old.
Right. I mean, yeah. I don't know about the wrestling, though, is a little rough, right? You
really got to get in there. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're both, I mean, that's, you're crossing swords, so to speak, and all of that. I don't know. I don't know. But some of the other things, like you said, frisbee, the long jump, possibly touch football, not so much.
Definitely not. I don't want to get thrown on the ground with no protection.
And then you've got races, right? So you're running full speed with everything swinging around.
Everything too.
Everything. Literally everything. All right. That is our weird sport of the week, Nude Beach Olympics. Shout out to all you guys who do it. Good for you. Okay.
Right.
Do we have any questions? We do not, I don't think. Oh, we do have one.
We have one from Michael.
Okay. Michael, start Kelsey and Gray in my PPR 11-2 league that's not deep, filled with wide receivers, 4 or 5 Tracy with a bunch of handcuff backs.
I don't think it's that weird. We're going to talk about Gray later. Kelsey just got 13 freaking targets last week, and Gray was still perfectly fine. So
yeah, I mean, if you're in a situation in a bye
hard
week situation, yeah, it's a tough week. I would put anybody in there that's able to score some points. So I don't think that's a bad call at all, Michael.
No, you could do worse for sure.
Yeah. All right, let's get into streamers for the week. Quarterback. This week is okay for quarterbacks. I actually brought 5 because I couldn't really trim it. So I guess that's better than having to scrimp and have none or whatever.
Hey, with 6 bye weeks, 5 is good.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine that they're all fantastic, but they're all right. We'll see. Okay. So, excuse me. First guy we have is Russell Wilson. He is at home against Cleveland. He is 35% rostered. Russell Wilson threw for 414 yards and 3 touchdowns this past weekend. He had 9 passes. Yeah, he had 9 passes of 20 or more yards. I will say this, the Browns are not exactly soft, right? They're 7th in quarterback adjusted fantasy points allowed. They held Bo Nix to only 12.2 points last night. So it's not a very it's not a super soft matchup, but I do still think he's the best option there just based on talent and what he's got going on, where the vibe he has right now. Second guy we have is Jameis Winston playing in Pittsburgh, the other side of that game, I guess. He's 15% rostered. We got the full Jameis experience.
Did we ever? Oh my goodness.
He was the quarterback 1 on the week. He threw for 497 yards and 4 touchdowns with 3 picks, 2 of them at very crucial times at the end of the game.
Two of them pick sixes.
Yes, at the very end of the game.
Incredible.
And we all knew, right? We're watching that game going, this is going to end on a pick 6 from Jameis without a doubt. The first time he did it, we thought, and then he did it again, like the next drive. But you know what? He was the quarterback 1 on the week still. So you take the good and you take the bad. Those are the facts of life with Jameis Winston. Wow, that was really bad. I'm sorry.
That was good. I liked it.
Thank you. But yeah, so Jameis is the second guy. Once again, Pittsburgh are not exactly an easy matchup, right? So this game is going to be hopefully a really good AFC North battle there. But I think both quarterbacks are in play. The third guy I have, it's kind of gross to even say, but this is where we are. I mean, we know 6 teams are on bye. It is what it is. Will Levis at Jacksonville. He is 12% rostered. Will Levis is actually the quarterback 15 over the last 4 weeks. He only has 2 turnovers in his last 4 games, which is good for him, right? And the Jags are 31st in quarterback adjusted fantasy points allowed. So it's a good matchup. If Jameis is gone, if Russ is gone, if you're scrambling there, I think Will Levis should be fine. The fourth guy, very similar category here, and that's Derek Carr on the road against the Giants. He's also 15% rostered. Derek Carr has actually been mistake-free since his return in Week 9. He has not thrown 1 interception since he got back. the Giants are kind of in the middle of the pack as far as quarterback adjusted fantasy points allowed. So just like Levis, like he's a guy, he's a body, he's been connecting with MVS. He should be all right. I wouldn't expect a quarterback one performance, but he should be all right. Fifth name, we got to throw it in there just because of the matchup, and that's Aiden O'Connell against Tampa Bay. He's only 2% rostered, so he should be there for you in those larger leagues. So last week, Aiden O'Connell had 340 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Chiefs. Like that's not bad considering, right? The Chiefs have a decent defense.
Right.
The Bucs are dead last against quarterbacks. And like Bryce Young torched him for nearly 300 yards and a touchdown. So I feel like Aiden O'Connell has to be similar there.
Right.
If you're, like I said, if you're in a large league and all these other guys are gone, I think Aiden O'Connell should be all right against the Bucs. So a little wrap up in a nice bow. We got Russ, Jameis, Will Levis, Derek Carr, and Aiden O'Connell.
Plenty of options.
Plenty, and they're not horrific. Yeah, I think they should be all right. All right, let's grab a question before we move on to tight end. Michael, Pollard or Hall, second flex, PPR. Just for you, Michael. We don't answer start sits in this, but we will do it for you, a loyal listener.
I'm kind of fine with Pollard here. He plays Jacksonville, I think.
Yes, because I just talked about Will Levis, so it's on. Yes.
Oh, yeah. And then like Breece Hall's getting... He's getting vultured. I was going to use a different word. He's getting vultured by Isaiah Davis, who I think was their 7th round running back this year. I mean, I'm not saying Breece Hall shouldn't be started this week, but I think I'd rather have Pollard.
And I can't remember who do the Jets play. I feel like it's a division game, but
Miami, which is a decent
there
matchup.
we go. Yeah.
Jaguars are a fantastic matchup, though.
They are. Yeah, it feels kind of gross to say Pollard over Hall, but I kind of agree with you a little bit there. Okay, let's see.
All right, I think we should probably answer Ringside Rips because he did quote, "What would Brian Boitano do?"
Yeah, he
that
did.
Makes me feel like I'm 14 watching South Park, and then maybe
my 15-year-old is currently watching South Park from the beginning, and I am loving it.
What would Brian Boitano do?
Okay, tired of the weaponless charger. Hey, don't no disrespect. Don't disrespect my lad McConkey. How dare you? Oh Lord, sorry, my phone's ringing. Okay, should I start Herbert, Levis, Caleb, or O'Connell? Okay, well, I just talked about Levis and O'Connell as decent, but I think let's see.
I'm still going with Herbert, I think.
I was just going to say, you've got Herbert against Kansas City, who actually Kansas City is pretty vulnerable. Like I just said, Aiden O'Connell threw 340 yards and 2 touchdowns last week against
which goes a long way.
Yeah, against the Chiefs. And I think you're in a much better situation with Herbert. I know you're frustrated, and that's why you're asking, because you probably don't want to start Herbert. But of those guys,
I think I'm still doing Herbert.
And I think... Let's see. The Bears play Kansas City, right? No, obviously
no.
What did I just...
Here it comes. They're playing the 49ers.
Okay. Well, then I have something wrong on my notes for later. So let me just change that.
That's okay. I'll talk real slow during
you talk. Okay. So anyway, yeah, against the Niners, yeah, I would probably still go Herbert. I know you probably didn't want to hear that ringside reps, but
I know.
I think we both like that. Okay, let's go with Toby real quick.
Morning, Mac.
Hi, Mac. Okay, you have an extra roster spot after Mason went down. Which backup RB to pick up? Brooks, Akers, Corum, Abdullah, full PPR. Running backs are Kamara, Walker, Pacheco.
I mean, I'm taking Guerrero above all of them, right?
Right, but I'm guessing that's
if he didn't
write it. Yeah, if he didn't write it there. Yeah, Guerrero, if he's there, would be for sure. I might like Abdullah in PPR.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't even seem like they're not even giving us updates on Madison and Zamir.
Or White.
They're like, we don't care.
We don't care.
Maybe he'll be out there.
No, I think Madison may be back, I guess, but if it's PPR, I feel like Abdullah is a nice option there. Brooks, we just don't. I mean, they're easing him in. Like, I just don't know if he's going to be a standalone guy. And
Yeah.
Akers and Corum. I mean, Corum's a nice handcuff, but I think Abdullah, if you want it now, I'd go with him. You agree?
I've had Brooks on, yes. I've had Brooks in my IR slot in a number of
Same.
leagues all year. And then it's
Same.
like, look, I didn't know Chuba Hubbard was going to be like the 8th best running back in the NFL. I wasn't betting
Yeah,
on that
but then
outcome.
it's like you can't drop him at this point, and so you're
Right.
just.
So
I
now
just
he's just a
wish.
really good handcuff.
Yeah, I kind of wish he was still on IR, so you could just stick him down there and then
I
keep
know.
rolling with the rest of your team. But now he's just out there in the mix. All right, before we get to the next set of questions, excuse me, let's get. Oh my goodness gracious, my phone won't stop ringing. All right, let's get to tight end, Justin. What you got?
Let's do it. For the tight end position, I have 5 dudes again. It's a little better than last week, and I do mean a little. But last week was pretty terrible, and we still had all tight end twos, so not shabby.
Yeah.
Going back to the well with Noah Gray as my top option. He's still only rostered in 12% of Yahoo leagues, which I thought felt pretty low after all those touchdowns he scored. Of course, he didn't find the end zone last week because, I mean, regression was coming in a big way after he had those 4 touchdowns in 2 games. But he's still seen a lot of usage, even with Travis Kelce hitting 13 targets in their Black Friday game. It's really hard to remember who played when this last week.
I know, and I screwed it up, and I was at the mall with my son, and all of a sudden I was getting updates for the game. I was like, "What do you mean? I thought it was a night game!" Like somehow I was
3 p.m.
I was so mad because I was entrenched in the mall. Like I couldn't do anything about it. I saw it and I was like, "Well, all right, not watching that one."
Yeah. For Gray's touchdowns, admittedly they can be fluky, but a roll inside the red zone on the Chiefs offense is not something we want to ignore at the tight end position. If it was like wide receiver, we could probably find someone who could get there without finding the end zone, but it's not typical in tight end land. The Chargers have been pretty good against the tight end, but Patrick Mahomes still has his incredibly low 6.7 ADOT. Gray's been operating as kind of the sweet spot when he doesn't look Kelce's way. So Gray up top. Then we have Mike Gesicki. We've talked about the splits with and
I
without.
don't mean to laugh. Sorry. Keep
Yeah,
talking.
exactly. I said it was a little better than last week, not that it was good. Mike Gesicki, we already know the splits with and without T. Higgins, but he did deliver a very feasible 5 for 53 line on 5 targets last week. That's something that can continue to happen as Joe Burrow drops back 50 times a game or more. They were coming out of their week 12 bye, and Eric All, who was looking pretty promising on a smaller tight end role, also went down about a week or 2 before the bye. They released wide receiver Trenton Irwin on Monday morning. It's just another little boost to Gesicki's bottom line. He is facing the Cowboys on Monday night. They are 24th in tight end AFPA, and he is available in 84% of Yahoo leagues. And then I'll kind of run through these last 3. We've got Juwan Johnson, probably going to take advantage of Taysom Hill going down for the season. RIP. We do still have Foster Moreau, but Juwan Johnson was second on the team in routes run last week when Taysom went down. And we can probably presume that to continue going because their wide receiver 1 is Marquez Valdez-Scantling. He's available in 97% of Yahoo leagues. Next up, Big Okonkwo, who we haven't talked about probably all season. It's been at least since last year, since I've even wrote him up. But Will Levis has been dropping back a crap ton, even though his accuracy is not fantastic. This is a fantastic matchup for both Will Levis, as you touched on, and Okonkwo. The Jaguars rank 31st in tight end AFPA. They have allowed 7 touchdowns and 8.7 yards per attempt to the position, both of which rank 29th in the league. And finally, we have Tommy Tremble, as Jatavian Sanders looks like he is set to miss this game as well. Just another rookie tight end that we don't get to use, which stinks. Trimble had a 5 for 77 stat line on 6 targets last week. He is well on his way to topping his previous career highs in every single statistical category here in his 4th season. We'll just say 4th. This is 3rd or 4th.
Let's just
The Eagles do have a decent defense against the tight end position. They rank 12th in schedule adjusted fantasy points allowed, but they are giving up 6.7 catches and 59.7 yards to opposing tight ends over the last 3 weeks. So to recap, we have Noah Gray at 12% rostered, Mike Gesicki at 16%, Juwan Johnson at 3%, Chika Okonkwo at 5%, and Tommy Tremble at 1% or 0%, really. So plenty of options with plenty of room to elbow yourself in there on one of them.
That's quite a list of names you've got there, Justin.
It is a
it's a list. I do want to say one thing. The Chiefs
Yeah.
are not playing the 49ers, as Justin threw out there. They are playing the Chargers this week. So not that I wasn't listening to you, Justin, that entire time, but I was checking on something because so the Chargers are playing the Chiefs, not 49ers Chiefs, right?
Oh, I was talking about Caleb Williams, wasn't I?
No, we I don't know what you're talking about. Noah Gray, I thought, and I don't know. Either way,
Oh,
because I said they were playing the Bears, and then we were like, no, and then you said they're playing the 49ers, and I think you meant the Bear, like whatever.
no, the Bears are playing the 49ers.
Right, and the Chiefs play the Chargers. So there we go. We're good there. All right, so I think we both just confused each other, but we got it. We got it. All right, it is time for Prize Picks. We know there are tons of options out there for real money sports action. We have found one that really stands out from the rest. Prize Picks. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to everyone. Prize Picks is so easy to play, and now you can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as few as 4 correct picks. One thing I really like is that Prize Picks is also the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy. So your lineups stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. If you sign up today, you will get $50 instantly when you play just $5. And that $50 bonus is guaranteed whether you win or not. So my pick this week, it's kind of a softball, but it's in there, so I'm using it. I am going to go with David Montgomery to have more than a half of a rushing or receiving touchdown against Green Bay. David Montgomery has crossed the pylon in 9 of 12 games this season. He has 11 total on the year. He was shut out last week, but that will not happen again. Note that this play, which is more than a half of a rushing or a receiving touchdown, is one of their goblin plays. So they're easier to win, but they come with lower payout multipliers. So download the app today. Use code TMAP, TMAP, to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, just download the Prize Picks app. Use the promo code TMAP to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.
Goblin.
I love
Goblin
Monty,
play.
man. I can't love him more, to be honest with you. And I have him on, I think, like almost every single managed league that I have.
It feels good. It feels real good.
Yeah, I have him in both of my home leagues. I have him in Scott Fishbowl. I have him in my Guillotine League. I have him in that league that points per first down league that John Paulson started. I have him everywhere. He's been fantastic. And he's a rock. I mean, like I said, he didn't get in last week, but he's gotten in all but 3 games this season, and some of them multiple times. He didn't get in last week, but he still scored like 15 points. So it's not like, I mean, he's a rock. Love him. All right. Before we get into kicker, let's see. Michael has another question here.
Let's get him.
Okay. Besides Guerrero, rank these handcuffs. Gibson, Corum, Sincere, Taylor.
What Taylor is that?
I don't know. I mean,
Jonathan Taylor is the best of that list.
We like Jonathan Taylor. No, I don't know who you mean by Taylor there. Between Gibson, Corum, Sincere, I don't know. Is Sincere really a thing? I don't know.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, there's just so many moving pieces there. I think I like Gibson.
It's weird to say, but I agree with you.
Patrick Taylor.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't want to mess with Patrick Taylor.
No, I don't either. I'd probably go Gibson. I don't know. Ramondre has been extremely frustrating as someone that has him on a roster, like trying to. Every time you think thank goodness last week he didn't end up. I mean, for me, for others of you, whatever. I didn't start him, and he busts out like a 30-yard run the first play of the game. I was like, oh great, it's going to be
Awesome.
one of those weeks. But he ended up being okay. But I think I like Gibson. I think honestly, I would rank him in the way you have him listed.
Yeah, actually, I agree.
And then as far as drops, Noah Brown, A. Mitchell, Roshan, Gainwell, Hunt, and Vele.
Gainwell's my least favorite. That's my easiest drop, I think.
Yeah, Gainwell just doesn't get much.
And he wouldn't even if Barkley went down.
Yeah.
I mean, he would get more, of course.
He would
but
get
wouldn't
more,
be like an
but
RB1.
yeah, it would be like Hurts would just run more, I think. Yeah, I'd say Gainwell or Noah Brown is okay, but
yeah. Are we playing Adonai Mitchell ever?
Yeah, you're not playing any of these guys. Vele,
That's
I
true.
think is you could kind of throw him in there. He might be all right.
I would flip. Maybe we flip it the other way. I would like to drop Roshan the least and Hunt the second least, in case something happens to Swift or if Pacheco re-injures something.
Right. And then the rest of them are droppable, I guess is what we're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Mac wants to know if we would add Caleb or Levis rest of season.
Probably Levis. Caleb really has a beefy schedule beefy in a bad way.
Yeah, he's got San Francisco this week. Then he's got Vikings, Detroit, Seattle. Levis is Levis, but he's got a great schedule. He's got all green and a couple whites there. He's got Jacksonville, Bengals, who we saw. They're all very permeable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Colts and Jacksonville. He gets Jacksonville twice. So yeah, I'd go Levis.
Yeah.
Yes.
You guys are the best. I got to put this up, right?
Yeah, of course. All right. So let's see. Mac needs an RB. Is Ferguson droppable for Guerrero? Yes.
Yeah. Ferguson's no better than he could be completely healthy the rest of the season.
Yeah.
He'll be like the tight end 16 or something.
Agreed. Yeah. I think Ferguson's droppable for a lot, but definitely for Guerrero.
Yeah, I agree.
He has the keys right now, right? All right, let's go one more from Michael here.
Yeah.
Madison, Abdullah, White, and Sincere.
Oh, just the backfield? They're all number 4.
That's funny. I know that's not a sincere question, even though you have Sincere in there. Well, maybe you do. I don't know.
It's probably that order right there.
Yeah.
Madison, Abdullah, Zamir White. Even if White comes back healthy, they prove that they don't really want any part of him anymore.
Yeah, I think it's exactly as you have it. And I think Abdullah for PPR, if it's standard, I don't know that he's ever going to really get what you want from him. But
it feels like years ago, but Zamir White was going in like the 6th round.
I love Zamir White. I'm very Zeus.
I forgot. He went there.
Yeah, he's a Georgia guy, and I do like him, but he's just not. He's not panning out, and you know what? That happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay.
211 with Pitts is great. Good job, Michael.
That is good. Are you still? I guess Michael, are you still alive?
Yeah, are you still in, Michael?
There's only 1,000 teams left.
Mm-hmm.
And Justin and I are. And Justin and I are in the top 200. Come on.
Not a big deal. It's not a big deal.
Okay, not a big deal at all. All right, let's get to kickers because I'm sure all of you are waiting around for that specific thing. Me too. Okay. Decent week for kickers. As we all know, we're missing. There's 6 that are gone, and of those 6, well, Justin Tucker. I don't know if anyone's lamenting that fact that he's on a bye. But Fairbairn. Yeah, Fairbairn is gone. There's some decent kickers that are out, so we do have to replace them. So I did bring five people. Actually, I brought 6 because one team has a possibility of 2 players. But yeah, all right. So 5.5. So my first, streamer this week is Chase McLaughlin. He's at home against Vegas. He is 40% rostered, so he's right on the edge, but he counts. He was tied for kicker 1 last week. He's got another good one brewing here. The Bucks are favored by 7 points with a 26-point team total. So I think Chase McLaughlin is the best, safest option. He is 40% rostered, so there are others if he's gone in your league. I picked him up last week in anticipation because I have Fairbairn. So look at me thinking ahead. So now I don't have to fight with other people. I have my top streamer. Okay. Second guy we talked about him for a second earlier in the show. Now Parker Romo. He has dropped the John. I find that interesting, right? Week 14, he decides that he's no longer John Parker Romo. He is only Parker Romo. I guess it's like the kid at school that just shows up one day and he's like, I'm going by so and so. It kind of, I mean,
Like, okay.
yeah, good for him, I guess. It makes it easier for those of us that have to type and write his name a bunch. So now he only has a first and a last name. But anyway, Parker Romo this week is at home against the Falcons. He is 12% rostered. He was kicker 4 last week. He had a good week with his new name. They are favored by 5 with a 25-point team total. So Parker Romo at home in Minnesota, always a good thing. The third guy I have here is Chad Ryland. He is at home against Seattle in this NFC West battle. He was tied with Chase McLaughlin for kicker 1 honors last week. So, and he's here again. They are favored by 3 with a 24-point team total, and he is only 1% rostered. So, Chad Ryland should be there for everyone if you're looking for a kicker this week. The fourth guy I have is Brandon McManus on the road in Detroit. He is 13% rostered. I'm not normally a proponent of road kickers. I usually stick to home when I'm doing my streamers. However, and they're also road dogs, which makes it, doubly not great. However, this game should be a shootout. It is the highest over/under at 51.5. It should be an exciting NFC North battle there between the Lions and the Packers. And they have a decent team total of 24 there. So I think Brandon McManus should be all right there, and he's only on 13% of rosters. And then I brought a fifth one because I always do, I guess, is the Chiefs kicker. We don't know if it's going to be Spencer Schrader or Matthew Wright again this week. Spencer Schrader was out last week with a hammy, so Matthew Wright filled in and did fine, actually. But as of right now, Wright is not on the roster, or he's NA, and Schrader is there. So we don't know who it's going to be, but Schrader's 12% rostered. Matthew Wright is 5% rostered. They're 3.5-point favorites with a 23.75 team total against the Chargers. So either one of those guys, it might be the kind of thing where you have to wait till the end of the week. I would go for one of the above guys, which is McLaughlin, Romo, Ryland, or McManus before you get to the Chiefs. But either one of those guys will be fine, whichever one shows up, or whichever one not shows up, but whichever one is the designated kicker for the week.
Yeah, plenty of options. Once again,
considering there's 6 teams on a bye, I'm happy with this list. I think right. I think we can. And look, we're at most likely the last week of the regular season for most of you guys, so you need every point you can get. So I recommend not just trotting out your normal kicker. The good news, like I said, Justin Tucker's on a bye, so you don't have to debate whether you want to start him or not, because he definitely has the yips. But you're gonna have to replace him. Yeah, I mean that's.
How do you get the yips so late in your career?
I don't know. And on such a national stage, like we all get the yips, right? Anyone who plays golf or you get the yips, it happens. But on such a public stage like that, when you're getting paid all kinds of money to do that, it just has to be brutal. And I'm sure it just gets worse and worse with everyone you miss. You got to live with that, and it probably stinks for him and all the guys that get the yips. Okay, you want to do a question or two before we get to defense?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, what do we got here?
This trade from Rod.
Okay.
Trade Rachaad White for Jacoby Myers, 2 RB, 3 wide receiver, 2 flex. Nice 2 flex. I love a 2 flex.
I love a 2 flex too.
Rod has Bucky, Bijan, Ken Walker. That's a good running back room. Higgins, DJ Moore, Sutton, and Josh Downs. To have PPR.
You definitely need wide receiver help, I would think. I mean, but I don't know if Myers
is he cracking that lineup. I mean, I might rather have Myers than Josh Downs. I would actually, not might.
Yeah.
So it does improve the room, but I don't think I'm starting Jacoby over Higgins
or
DJ Moore or Sutton.
No, you're not. But flex wise, I don't know if you are either, because you have Bijan, Walker, Higgins. Well, and you have Bucky, who I'm not sure what. I mean, I know he left, but I
don't think it's anything serious from what I remember news wise yesterday.
Were you on the desk yesterday?
Yeah, I was on the desk all day long.
It says here. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think I would worry about it.
He's feeling better. It's a hip. Yeah, it doesn't sound like he's at risk of missing that game. So, but you
This
could
is a
still,
fluff piece about Bucky Irving that released at 9 o'clock in the morning. So I don't think they would
yeah,
have released it if he was injured.
yeah.
Or
I don't hate that for you. I mean, if you want to do that, he
I'm fine
may.
with it. Yeah, you could flip him around. Maybe, I mean, DJ Moore, we already talked about Caleb Williams having difficult matchups, which of course means DJ Moore has difficult matchups as
Right.
well. So maybe you do slap Myers over more than on a week or two
Right.
for the rest of the season.
Yeah, we don't hate it, Rod. Go for
Yeah,
it.
go for it, Rod.
All right, all in one show. He's got a defense streaming question for you, Justin.
I am going to knock out some streamers, but let's see if I touch on any of them. Dolphins, Tampa, Chargers. I do touch on Tampa Bay. Sadly, I'm sorry, Aiden O'Connell. But yeah, well, I'll get to the streamers here after we answer a couple more
Okay.
questions. And see
My
if that
brain,
helps
I
you
already
out all
thought
in
we
one
did
show.
them, so sorry about that.
No, it's fine.
Speaking of, let's do it. Go for it.
Okay.
Knock out
Yeah.
your defense streamer.
We'll get to you here in a minute, Mac. I see your question. But defensive streamers of the week, a decent week, particularly with 6 teams on the bye, so it kind of shrinks it a little bit, but it's not too shabby. My favorite of the week is easily the Saints at the Giants. They are only 29% rostered. The Giants have still allowed, it doesn't matter who the quarterback is, they have allowed the most schedule adjusted points to opposing defenses. Last week we did get Drew Lock, and he did his best Tommy DeVito impression. He took 6 sacks. He completed 5.6 yards per attempt, and he threw an interception. It really doesn't matter who starts here. I know DeVito might retake it, but we're aiming for Tommy DeVito, Drew Lock. Anyone else they would like to throw out there, this offensive line is terrible. So continue to stream against them for the rest of the season. Second favorite pick is the Bengals, which sounds disgusting because they might be the worst defense in the league. But we do get Cooper Rush, who has proven that he is not a starting worthy quarterback, even though he does have a couple of games with some high yardage totals. If the Bengals offense continues to blow the wheels off of opposing defenses, the Cowboys will have to play catch up. I don't think that's a good mode to be in for Cooper Rush and Dallas. So the Bengals defense, even though they are very bad, make for a very interesting fantasy DST. The third option today is the Jaguars at the Titans. The Titans are 25th, or what is that, 9th? They give up a lot of points to schedule adjusted defenses. They rank 25th. Bad. Yeah. Sometimes it's like, is it 7? Is it 25th? Whatever.
Math is hard.
Will Levis. Yeah, I know. Look, counting all the way to 7.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. It's just barely not morning over here. I need some more coffee. Jaguars at the Titans. The Titans and Will Levis have taken 22 sacks over the last 4 games. They have a 39.3% pressure rate allowed over that span. It is the 3rd highest in the league. Will Levis, much like Jameis Winston, can be good in fantasy while also be very giving to opposing DSTs. So I like the Jags, even though they're also a very bad defense. And then the not in my league bonus, the Bucks take on the Raiders and Aiden O'Connell. They are rostered in 53% of leagues, so they're not going to be available for everybody. And I also think I would still like the Saints over Tampa Bay anyways. But Aiden O'Connell coming off of the game of his life, the game of his career, the career-defining game. He still took 3 sacks, and he had 2 turnover-worthy throws that didn't happen to turn into interceptions. The Raiders have allowed a 32.3% pressure rate over the last month, the 9th highest in the league. So much like with Will Levis, Aiden O'Connell could have a pretty good fantasy game and still allow the Bucks to have a pretty good fantasy game on the other side. So to recap, we have the Saints at 29% rostered, the Bengals at 17% rostered, the Jags at 4% rostered, and then the Bucks are up at 53%. But I would give them a look if the Saints are already rostered. And then I'll just go straight into all-in-one show. Tampa is on there. I do like them. I probably could have pulled up who they were playing, but I can only
Yeah, the
talk.
Dolphins play the Jets. The Chargers play the Chiefs. Um,
Okay,
and then the Titans we just talked about
are playing the
play the
Jags.
Jags. Yeah.
Yeah, oof. Yeah, the Titans would be probably number one. They'll get Mac. They're presumably getting Mac Jones.
Yeah.
Um, that was a pretty brutal hit. I don't think we'll be
Yeah.
seeing T Law this week or
No.
probably the next 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So probably the Titans number one, and then I still do like Tampa more than Miami, and then the Chargers probably last on the list there. Hopefully that helps. All in one show.
All right. You want to answer Mac's dynasty question?
Yeah, I looked this up, so I'll be quick. Max says, dynasty question for Justin, an odd one. Kevin Austin was quite involved this past week. Is he worth a roster ad for Amir Abdullah? I'm in the playoffs and contending. I like where you're coming from, Mac. Austin is more or less operating as the wide receiver too right now. He's a really good sneaky ad for deep dynasty leagues. Like if he finishes out the season as the wide receiver too, and then he carves out a role for himself in 2025, that's definitely worth a dynasty ad. I don't know if I love dropping Amir Abdullah since you're contending because I can't imagine you starting Kevin Austin in the playoffs and your dynasty championship. But I can see a path for Amir Abdullah possibly finding a starting slot. If you're completely stacked at running backs and you know you're not going to touch Amir Abdullah for the rest of the season, I think it's totally fine to drop him. And Kevin Austin is a very interesting ad. I think I might go and give him a little ad for some teams that are already out of the playoffs.
All right, there you go. Let's move on to All in One Show as another question.
Yeah.
Gibbs, Jacobs, Connor, Pollard. Should I pick up Guarendo, drop Goff? I have Burrow at quarterback. Ooh, you have a good running back room, but I feel like, you should get Guarendo anyway if you can. Just block someone else from getting him. As far as Goff goes, Goff has a pretty rough schedule. The Lions are good, right? And they're going to continue to be good. But he's got, after this week is Green Bay, which should be a shootout, but then he's got Buffalo, the Bears, and the Niners. It's not an easy road there at the end of the season. You're probably
Goff's a guy. Goff is awesome, but you can find the QB 14 off of waiver wires. If
and
Burrow gets injured or they shut him down or whatever.
Yeah, and Burrow has Goff has 2 road games too, which is he's definitely a better home guy.
Right.
He's in Chicago and in San Francisco. So, and you're
Even
not going to.
If you don't play Guarendo, sorry, like you were saying, like block someone else.
Yeah, I would do that. Okay, Gary, I do agree. Thielen.
I like Adam Thielen too.
Yeah. Okay. Thomas has a question here. I'll hit that. Okay. Need a replacement for quarterback for Jaden Daniels, Levis or Winston. You got to go Winston. Like we said, you're gonna get the full Jameis experience. Like he's gonna throw a couple picks. So
yes.
If you're in a league where it's like 6 points for an interception or something ridiculous, then maybe not. But if it's just a normal league, you got to go Winston over Levis. Do you agree?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right, Michael. He missed the playoffs.
Oh, he missed the playoffs
by 30. I didn't stick with Bates. Come on, Michael. Don't you listen to this show?
Yeah, I feel like I remember Michael said he dropped him a couple weeks ago. He mentioned that he dropped him, but he had a reason. I can't remember what.
Yeah, Bates actually had he had not a fantastic. Because I can look right now at mine because of course I started him. He only had 18 points last week.
I started him every week.
Yeah, I do too. He only had 18, which is a low week for him in the kicker department. But yeah, oh, that was your first one. Well, good. I'm glad you had fun.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. We're back to his Thomas. I know stacking doesn't matter in redraft, but I was thinking the Levis, Nick Westbrook, O'Keen stack. 135 and Nico on a bye. Sucks my home.
It's the first round.
Oh, they start this week.
These week 14 buys are mean, man. Like 40% of the viewership of the NFL comes because people play fantasy football. I just made that number up, but it's very.
I was about to say, look at you spewing out. Yeah,
I think it's fine. I keep trying to. I haven't picked up Westbrook Akine in a single league, and I also haven't picked up MVS. So I don't know. Don't listen to me.
I picked up Westbrook Akine about 4 weeks ago and dropped him because he was and so of course he blew up after. Well, I
Right.
mean,
Exactly.
look, I watched the pattern. He was getting in every week, so I did pick him up, but then I had to drop him for something else, and of course, someone else got him in that time frame. I do have MVS on one, and I started him 2 weeks ago during the first Bipocalypse because I had to, but I did not start him last week. So yeah, I mean,
They're playing the Jags. I think it's totally fine.
yeah, I mean, rest of season, I would go Jameis, but you're not looking for that since you have Daniels. So yeah, go for it. I think that's totally fine. And no, Cooper Rush also available, but no, I would not go that
Don't
route
do Cooper Rush. That's how you
either.
get kicked out in the first round.
Yeah, that's how you lose in the first round because you get cute. Don't get too. I mean, not that Will Levis isn't getting cute because it is, but at the same time, we don't really have.
He's still chucking the ball though.
Yeah, he is. All right, Jason Quinn. There's a defense question for you.
Add New Orleans, Pittsburgh, San Francisco, or Arizona D. How do you have all this? Pittsburgh. Aren't they like 90%?
Yeah, I don't know how you have all this, but
I mean, Pittsburgh's the answer.
I mean, Pittsburgh, I would think is rest of season answer regardless.
Yeah. Am I being silly? They're playing
Especially,
Cleveland.
yeah, they're playing.
They're the
Jameis.
defense. They're the defense won this week. So
Yeah.
the answer is Pittsburgh by a
Yeah,
long shot.
Okay. What else? I don't know if that's a question or not. Minnesota. Okay. PPR stash rest of season, Thielen or Elijah Moore. Ooh.
That's interesting. I think I'm probably going to Thielen.
I would go Thielen
Tillman's
because
back, right?
yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Tillman's back, and Judy just blew up. I mean, granted, it was a revenge game, but still.
What man, the bingo card is off the chains this season.
Yeah.
Jerry Judy hitting 230 yards.
Yeah, I know.
Goodness.
And he here, and I say here because like I said, I sit very close to the stadium, but that was that was something. Because
Right.
he could not get it going here for years, and then he shows up with Jameis.
Took him a long time in Cleveland too. But yeah, I mean,
no,
he did have
sure.
Watson.
But yeah, we both I think Thielen. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Thielen is 34. He's clearly not done. He's back, he's healthy, and Bryce Young is kind of heating up a little bit. So I like Thielen rest of season. Justin, you got another one here for you.
The follow up with the Kevin Austin over Amir Abdullah. Only one. I love your league. 4 flexes and only 1 running back slot. I have a couple dynasty leagues like that too. I love it. Then you can build your team however you feel like it. Are we in the same league together, Mac? Am I giving you advice? Don't disregard that then.
I actually have people in my home league that listen to the show and I know they do because they tell me they do, and then they pick up the kickers right.
Whoever you said, yeah,
pay more.
So yeah, Max, I do love that league setting. Same kind of thing. I don't love dropping Amir Abdullah, but if you don't think you're going to start him, just kick him to the curb and pick up someone who could be, get you some rookie draft picks down the line. Maybe he develops into something and someone wants to give you a second or a third rounder. As unlikely as that is, no one would ever do that for Amir Abdullah. So the ceiling is good for Kevin Austin, even if the floor is nothing.
All right, we're moving to more Thielen. A lot of Thielen happening right now.
Yeah.
Luis, Thielen flex. I know it's a Philly D, but Thielen is relief to the pass rush. I want his targets. Yeah, I mean, we just talked about him a second ago. Yeah, I think Thielen in the flex is perfectly fine this week.
Mm-hmm.
We got another question. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine or Thielen this week to replace Nico, or he could drop Thielen or NWI and try to get Elijah Moore. Yeah, no, I don't know that that's necessary, especially against a Pittsburgh D. I mean, like we said, Westbrook-Ikhine against the Jags, like that's a good matchup there. It's probably a better matchup than Thielen, but
I think this is a kind of a clear cut. Like, do you want a floor or a ceiling? Like, Thielen's going to have the higher floor. We can project a higher floor for him this week, but does he have the kind of ceiling we've seen from Westbrook-Ikhine, where Will Levis is dumping the ball super deep down the field, something that Bryce Young is not very apt to do. So I think they're both pretty close, but it just depends on if you can stomach 2 points from Westbrook-Ikhine with the possibility of scoring 20, and then Thielen is like he's scoring 8 points.
Yeah, I like that. All right, Michael's got another question. This one's actually interesting to me. Juwan Johnson and Drop Disley since it's tight end premium, and Taysom Hill is out, correct?
Yeah,
So
he's gone.
yeah, so that's an interesting one.
I feel like we just looked up the Chargers' rest of season schedule, but they have the Chiefs, then Tampa Bay. Ooh, they get Tampa Bay next week, and then Denver, and then the Patriots for the fantasy championship. That Tampa Bay for Will Disley. I should clarify.
Yeah.
That Will Disley matchup against the Bucks next week is phenomenal. But Juwan Johnson does have a pretty good rest of season schedule, and Taysom Hill's gone. Man. It's tough. It's tough. I mean, I can't not take my red brethren Disley for the rest of the season, right?
The non-biased redhead or non-redhead, unbiased over here. I kind of like Johnson there. I hate to say, I hate to disagree with you, but with no Taysom, no Olave, at least for now.
Yeah, no Shaheed.
And no Shaheed. You're looking at MVS as the main guy there. And Derek Carr's been all right. So I guess what we're saying is you really can't go wrong with either. So I guess go with your gut. But I lean Johnson. He leans Disley.
Yeah. Sorry, Michael.
Sorry, Michael. Hey, we've answered like 5 questions for you. So if we got one that we're not agreeing on, that's okay. Thomas, thoughts on DK? He's been struggling. I could potentially sit him for Elijah Moore, Thielen in my playoffs.
No, don't do it.
You can't get cute in the playoffs. I think you got to stay with DK.
I wouldn't start Elijah Moore over DK in any kind of league.
And I think
unless it was like a DFS tournament.
Yeah, I think like Thielen, like you said, I mean, he has a nice floor, but if you're comparing him to DK Metcalf, I just think you have to go DK. And you're a Seahawks fan. It just doesn't make sense. You got
don't do it.
You got to stay. All right, we're gonna skip you, Gerardo, because we're not doing straight up start sits, and we're up against it. I've got a meeting in 2.5 minutes. Daniel, I lost Hill. Who do I pick up? Henry, Disley, Johnson, Kincaid, Fant, Goddard, Freiermuth. I mean, Goddard is hurt, but as far as like rest of season, I mean, he stands out to me.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly his I don't know his exact injury, how long he's going to be out.
I like Henry.
Henry is hurt too, right?
Man, this is everyone. I don't want to start Freiermuth in the playoffs. I don't want to start Noah Fant in the playoffs. We still are up in the air about Dalton Kincaid.
I mean, Henry's off this week, and
so
you can't play him this week, right? So
we like Disley and Juwan Johnson.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Freiermuth is fine. I just don't think he's really.
Yeah, he's fine. He just doesn't. He's not going to get there if Russell Wilson isn't throwing for 500 yards.
Right. That's our boy Harry Fister, though.
That's Harry Fister.
None of you else will get that joke, so I'm sorry. And like we're almost done here. All right.
Shout out Brandon Niles.
Yes, shout out
the homie.
Our friend Brandon Niles. Luis, win in my playoffs. Problem next on a bye. Pick up and start. Aiden, Levis, Carr. Yeah, we kind of went over a lot of this at the top of the hour here with our quarterback streamers. I mean, Carr, Levis, I think are fine. They're both fine streamers this week. Aiden is a fine streamer too, but I think you'd rather kind of have Rod. My brain. Oh, Aaron Rodgers,
A-Rod.
maybe?
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, no. I'd go probably Carr. I'd go Carr, Levis, Aiden, and then the other 3 I don't think I would start.
Yep. Exact same order. That's what I was just thinking.
Yeah. Quarterback rest of the year, it's tough to know. I mean, that's a pretty vague question.
Oh, I think he follows it up.
Oh, here we go. Okay, I'm sorry. Mahomes, Knicks, Wilson, or Tua. Who to start, bench, and drop? All right, this will be our last question here.
Yes.
Okay, let's look at their schedules real quick. That way. Mahomes doesn't have a great schedule. Knicks actually has a good schedule after the bye, unfortunately. Russ. Russ has Cleveland and then Philly, so not great.
Yeah,
Um,
dropping Russ.
And Tua, same way. He's got San Francisco and Cleveland the last 2 weeks here.
So we're starting
So
Mahomes, benching Knicks, and then dropping Wilson and Tua.
yeah,
I think so.
yeah,
I
I
agree.
think that kind of sounds right. All right, thank you guys so much for joining us as you do every week. Good luck this week, week 14. For Justin, I am Jennifer. See you guys next week, same time, week 15, 12 Eastern on Tuesday.